Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cats and Coffee again with my co-founder and the creator of Cats and Coffee, Ray McCatton. Ray, hi. Good morning.
Good morning, Cindy. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. I've got my cat mug. I'm going to be sending you one of these because I think they're so fun. And we're talking again all things Farquharson because it is, in fact, still February and Farquharson's month. And I thought I would do just kind of an intro about Farquharson's, and then you're going to talk a little bit more in depth about some of the points in history and the battles that are very interesting and fascinating. You know a lot more about those than I do. But I first want to mention too, we're highlighting a different Clan Chattan Association clan. I'm
Yes.
going to go ahead and join that clan. So I joined the Farquharsons and
Ah,
immediately got this emailed to me.
wonderful.
Printed it out, and I just thought that was wonderful. So you can join the Farquharsons and follow what they're doing. They do a lot of really fun things, and they have some great upcoming events, which we'll talk about further on our social media and on the channel. But to get started just with a little bit of the Farquharson history, and this is taken directly from their website. Farquharsons trace our origin back to Farquhar, the fourth son of Alexander Sear, not sure if I'm saying that correctly, it's Cier Shaw, who owned land including the Braes of Mard near the source of the River Dee in Aberdeenshire. Their clan motto is Fide et Fortitudine. Again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that, and I'm so sorry if
It's
I'm
okay.
butchering it. By faith and fortitude is basically what that means. Clan Farquharson holds many castles in Inverclyde in Aberdeenshire. Among them is Braemar Castle, where the famous Highland gathering takes place. The clan chief, after the passing of Captain Alwyn Farquharson of Inverclyde in 2021, his great nephew, Philip Farquharson, 17th of Inverclyde, succeeds him as clan chief. He's also succeeded him as a chieftain of the Ballater Highland Games. Captain Alwyn, his great uncle, had lived to the great age of 102, receiving a personal letter from His Royal Highness Prince Charles' 100th birthday. Now, this is interesting because there's so many people I've spoken with who mentioned that they do believe that he was the oldest and longest living chief of all time. That is a
Wow.
belief. So we're still trying to confirm that for sure. He was even awarded the Military Cross for bravery while serving with the Royal Scots Greys in 1944, and was
Yes.
well known for his devoted service as chieftain of the Ballater Highland Games and vice patron of the Braemar Highland Games. Newly instated Chief Philip has been actively involved with the clan for many years and the society, and we have no doubt he's going to do an excellent job as chief. I've interviewed him in the past, and hopefully we'll get him back on here with us.
Oh,
And
good.
Ray, you have some wonderful information about some very important dates for the Farquharsons.
Yeah, sure. As far as exact dates and years, I don't have all that in my head perfectly, but we'll
That's
go over a few things here.
that's quite all right.
So there's one very interesting little episode, really. It's not called a battle, it's called a trot, because it was basically a chase or a very little shooting, a lot of running and shouting and yelling. So this was called the Trot of Turriff, Turriff, in 1639. It was one of the first, considered the first major skirmish or occurrence of the Covenanters' Wars, I believe. And the Farquharsons were on the Royalist side in this particular part of it. I'm not sure how they ran all through the Covenanters episodes, but at this one they were in the Royalist brigades and forces. So this town of Turriff had a large amount of Covenanters, which were the ones that were against the government in this. They were in Turriff, kind of hiding there. They were barricaded against one side of it, I guess, and a lot of these Royalist forces came up. They came against the other side of the town, and there was a big rush to the other side of the boat, you might say, to protect that side and such. And during it, one of the Royalist men was shot in the back by his own people. He was the only casualty. He was killed in the whole thing. once they entered the town, all of the Covenanters ran out the other side of the town without a shot. So that was the Trot of Turriff.
Wow.
I guess it was a victory on the side of the Royalists, you might say, but it's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek of a battle at all. That's why it's been dubbed the Trot. So that's one of the little ones, and another one which I detailed in one of my Touch Knot episodes this month was called. I called it the Fish Story. It was an episode that took place with some men of Braemar. Were at the side of the Dee River, taking some fish, which was the Gordons' controlled territory at the time. So for that infraction, the Gordons took some horses from another group of Farquharsons. They didn't care what Farquharsons they took it from. They wanted to extract their vengeance. So they took a group of horses from someone else, and this resulted in a battle at a place called Tullich, where the Gordons attacked Tullich. John Farquharson, the younger of Inverrye, was in Tullich at the time. They were largely outnumbered, but yet they did defeat the Gordons. They killed Gordon and his son and many of their followers right there in quite an overturn. So that was really all started with some guys fishing on the side of the river where they shouldn't be. And that one, I called it a fish story. You can see that on the Touch Knot this month. It's out. It's in my Cattail and Clawmarks playlist. What I call my historical adaptations. So they're my version of some of these stories that went on, and my own way of bringing it to people and illustrating it.
Well, I think you make it fun, and to mention also too, please like and subscribe to Ray's YouTube channel as well. It's called Touch Knot, and you'll find it at Ray McCat. And also here, it really helps. And if you want to hear more information and learn more things, there's a lot of information going to be coming out. We'll have a lot of guests on, and you're going to be following us around the country this year as we're convening for Clan Chattan Association here in the United States. And so go ahead and jump on his channel. I put the link down below as well, because I love watching all of the things that you're doing. It's interesting that, they would be fishing, and then all of a sudden people would be killed.
Right.
But only in the highlands, right?
Correct.
So
That's right. So a lot of people are familiar with this Battle of Pinkie, which was much earlier than that. It was almost 100 years earlier than that, the two episodes I just mentioned. Pinkie Clew, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but the Battle of Pinkie, at any rate, was 1547. And that was, I'll give you a little bit of a structure of that story. So that Mary Queen of Scots was of the House of Stuart, which many people may know. And she was 5 years old at this time in 1547. She was only 5 years old. And Finn Lamore, who was the leader of the Farquharsons at the time, he supported the House of Stuarts and what they would call the ascendancy of the Stuarts to the crown of Scotland. So the Duke of Somerset was sent in from England into Scotland with a large force in order to ensure that the 9-year-old, I'll have to check something here. I'm sorry, folks. The 9-year-old King Edward of England would marry her. So Finn Lamore stood between that marriage. Duke of Somerset came with a large force, both land and navy. And that was the Battle of Pinkie Clew. This struggle to try to force this marriage is what this was all about. And during that battle, there was a lot of use of what they would call European tactics by the English that the Scots were not familiar with and really had no defense against, unfortunately. Things like the naval bombardment, especially. They could target areas on that hillside where they knew the Scots were and were not. They could move them with those cannons. They could literally herd people with those cannons towards their death, towards armies, which is what happened. And the story is that Finn Lamore either carried the standard that day or picked it up, helped carry it, something like that. He carried that standard that's been known now as the rampant lion, the yellow and red flag that we know. It's in part of the Farquharson coat of arms now. Ever since then, it's been within their arms. And he was killed by a cannonball from those ships as they walked down the slope toward the hill, toward the seaside. He caught a ball and was killed. So that's about an overview of that battle for you.
Our next week, when we come back for Cats and Coffee, Ray, we'll talk a little bit more about the interaction the Farquharsons had with Clan Chattan when it was the Confederation.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to be able to go over that with you. You have such great knowledge.
Yeah, that will be fun. And as you mentioned before briefly, the Shaws are what I would call the bridge between the Macintoshes and the Farquharsons. That Farquhar Shaw that you mentioned was the progenitor of Farquharson, and he was a member of Shaw, which was before that from Macintosh. So this is the kind of thing that flows down through each other.
Where does the name Farquharson come from? The name means son of a very dear one and derives from a Gaelic Farquharshire. According to Clan Farquharson website, Clan Farquharson of Celtic origin derives from Farquhar, fourth son of Alexander Sar Macintosh of Rothmarchus, the fifth chief of Clan Shaw. A grant of arms was made by Lord Lyon in 1697, stated that John Farquharson of Invercald was lawfully descended of Shaw, son of Macduff, Thane of Fife, whose successors had the name Shaw until Farquhar Shaw, son of Shaw of Rothmarchus, chief of the whole name, came to be called Farquharson. Thus the Farquharsons branched from Clan Shaw. Farquhar settled in the Braes of Mars and was appointed valet or chamberlain thereof.
Ah, wonderful.
And that is
what a rich history. What a rich history they have. My goodness.
Oh, yes. It's so fun to read about it and learn more about it. And like I said, I joined Clan Farquharson. Anyone can join if you have an interest or any kind of ties or interest to that. And they publish a newsletter. It used to be called The Lion's Face. I'm not sure if it still is. It took the title, the fourth edition of the autumn of 2002. Before that, simply just being referred as to the newsletter. It's published twice a year, usually July, just prior to the gathering, and then again in December, prior to the festive season. And it's sent out to every member and to the presidents of the affiliated clans. So I'm very interested to get this newsletter. I didn't know about it previously, and be able to read and keep up with the Farquharsons, who are very busy in the Highlands. Going to their website linked below, and you can see all of the steps associated and related to Clan Farquharson and their rich history. Ray, thanks so much for taking the time to do Cats and Coffee with me again here today, which was your, again, brainchild, and we founded it together, and I'm so grateful. And
it's been fun. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is great fun. And I will be back with you again next week for more really fun information. Again, like and subscribe, and jump on over to Ray's Touch Not YouTube channel as well. Like and subscribe there if you have interest in all things Clan Chattan Association. We'd love to have you, and we will see you again next week for some more interesting and fun information.
Yes, please keep on the Touch Not channel. We have a lot of Farquharson content we didn't mention today. Something came out yesterday. There'll be more this week. So stay with us.
We're sprinkling it out, and we'll have some surprise guests on with us as well.
Great.
Okay, see you guys all next week. Bye for now.
Touch Not. We certainly hope you're enjoying Cats and Coffee on the Touch Not channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.